There we go. Okay, so we are going to start to do lying down. So you can take yourself onto your back, and if you want to, you can come into our reclined butterfly, which is just the soles of the feet together, and then the knees dropping out to the side. But again, if that's not a comfortable position for you, you can always adjust your legs a little bit if you need to. But just coming into a comfortable position to do your grounding. So just make your way down onto your mat. And you can close your eyes if you like, and either spread the arms, or you can have your hands on your low belly, wherever you want them to be. So just taking a few moments, just coming away from your day, and just beginning to draw your attention inwards. Start to draw your attention towards your breath. Allowing the breath just to smooth out as you breathe in and out through your nose. Breath begins to even out a little bit. Taking a moment to notice your body, see how it feels here. So you might feel a little bit of tightness in your hips or your legs. If you can release that a little. And then as your body starts to release, take a moment to see how you feel. Without holding on to any thoughts that might arise. Simply allowing them to move through your mind. So in today's class, we're going to do a little practice in hip release. So often we hold a lot of tension in our hips, especially if we sit a lot, or if we do other forms of exercise. Sometimes tension can build up in our hips, and it also sometimes leads to an imbalance in the muscles of the hips. So often the glutes can become a little bit weak, especially as the other leg muscles become a little bit stronger. We're just trying to address that balance. So when you're ready, you can just take your hands here and just start to move your legs back together. And then we're just going to draw your right knee just in towards your chest. So you can use both hands as you draw it in. And if you want to extend your left leg along the mat, then you can do that. And we'll move side to side here with your leg. When you're ready, on an inhale, we'll move your right knee over towards the left shoulder. So just as far over as you can. And then on the exhale, if you move it over towards the right shoulder. Again, we're just moving side to side. If you can move a little bit further, we're just really trying to work out how far we can move our hip and what movement we have in the hip. Just nice and gently following your breath and exploring the sensations in your hip. When you're ready, come back in towards the center. We're going to rebend your left leg. And then if you flex your right foot, we're just going to place that just onto the thigh. So we're going to keep your right foot flexed a little. If you want to, you can stay here. Just use your right hand and gently press the right knee away. If you want a little bit more than that, you could lift your left foot off the ground and draw the knees in towards your chest using the hands down the back of your left thigh. As you do that, maybe start to draw it in a little bit more. If you want a little bit more sensation, try and keep both of your feet still a little bit flexed. There's a little bit of activity in your feet. And any strong sensations, you can deepen your breath a little bit. I'm going to keep the cross of your legs. Release your hands though and place your left foot on the ground. Spread your arms like a T shape and then move your right foot all the way over to the left. So coming in for a little twist through the hips and the lower back. If you can press your right foot to the ground, either keep your eyes towards the ceiling or turn towards your right arm. When you're ready on an inhale, we're going to move back in towards the center. So you can release your legs now and draw your knees in towards your chest. You can make any little movement that you like when you get there. We'll do the same on the other side. So your left knee is going to stay in and your right leg extends away. And then start to move side to side again. As you inhale, you go to the right shoulder. And on the exhale, move the knee and the leg over towards the left. As you're doing this, again, just notice how this side of your hip feels in comparison to the other one. You want to keep the hips fairly balanced, and often there is an imbalance in our hips, and we want to try and address that, and should we do everything we can to keep them fairly even. When you're ready, move back towards the middle, and again, rebend your right leg, flex your left foot, placing the heel onto the thigh of the knee, and then start to either just push away with your left hand or lift your right foot off the ground and hook your hands in the back of your right thigh. Both feet are a little bit flexed. Upper body's relaxed, so see if you can release a little bit through the head and the neck. And using your breath for any strong sensations. When you're ready, we'll slowly release. So we'll lower down to your right foot. Keep your left foot flexed. Spread your arms and move over towards the right side. So again, trying to press the left foot to the ground if you can. So sending your gaze either up or across towards that left hand. When you're ready, we'll slowly move back towards the middle. So coming back into the center, you can draw your knees in again and maybe move a little bit side to side. Now from there, we're going to do a little bit through the center of your body, just warming up through your core. So when you're ready, we'll take both feet flat onto the ground. Spread your hands to the palm down. And then when you're ready, lifting up one foot at a time, come into this tabletop position. We're going to interlake your fingers around the back of your head. And as you breathe in, we're going to lift the upper body up off the ground. So we'll come in for some yogic bicycles here. So when you're ready, as you inhale, we'll take your left elbow over towards your right knee, extending the left leg away. And then on the inhale, come back into the center. So we'll do that to the other side. So again, just moving over. If you can take that elbow all the way across to the outside of the knee and you pull the knee in. And get that little kind of crunch through the center of your body. Try and keep everything else as still as you can. The hips are nice and still. Torso stays quite still as we rotate through the shoulders. Okay, let's do 2 more of these. And when you're ready, we'll come back in towards the center. As you come in, keep the knees in. We'll take the hands behind the back of your thighs this time. So we are going to move up. So you can either roll over onto your side, or if you want to roll back and forwards, take your time. Maybe do a few of them. And then when you're ready, start to come up to sitting. So as you come up, we're going to move to all fours. Take your time coming around. And as you come into all fours, we're going to have the hands underneath your shoulders and the knees directly underneath your hips. We're going to do a few cat cows here. So on an inhale, start to drop the belly down and pull forwards through your chest. And then as you exhale, rounding through the upper back and shoulders, tucking the tailbone under. I'm going to continue with this cat cow. But today, if you could, because we're concentrating on our hips, if you could try and see if you could initiate each movement from the hip. So for example, as you inhale, we'll start to move the hips back first, drop the belly and lift the chest. And then as you exhale, start to tuck the tailbone under first, draw your belly in, round your back, and then chin to chest. Again, inhale, the hips move first, belly drops down, chest pulls forward. And on the exhale, tailbone tucks, belly pulls in, chin drops down. Just see how it kind of changes the feeling as you move through that. Just trying to warm up through your spine a little bit. We'll do that one more time. So again, just take your time. And then when you're ready, come back into the center. As you come into the center, see if you can draw your belly up a little bit more. I'm going to move through your right leg. So as you inhale, we'll just extend the right leg just behind us. So the toes point down, and the heel is kind of on level with your hip. Now as you exhale, we're going to bend the legs. So we're just going to bring the heel in towards the bottom, keeping the knee high if you can. And as you inhale, just extend the leg behind you. So do that again. So bending through your leg, keep pushing equally through both hands. Draw your belly up and in. Good, and move at your own breath. Okay, let's do one more of these. And when you come back into that bent leg position, you can either just stay here with the leg bent, or reaching back with your left hand, maybe you can take your foot into your hand, and then you could gently press the foot into the hand and maybe rotate the chest round towards the left side. Again, just see how it feels. Breathe deeply. Take one more inhale. Now, without the leg pinging away, slowly release your foot behind you. Bring your hand down towards the ground. And then as you exhale here, we're going to draw the knee in towards your chest and rounding all the way in. And then we'll step that right foot up towards the top of your mat. So take your time as you step it through. Maybe you slide back a little bit with your left leg. One hand either side of your front foot. Draw your belly in and lift your chest up a little. And then if you can, we'll start to lift the chest up off the ground. And then reaching up with the arms so the thumbs go back, the keys face forward. See if you can release a little bit more. So dropping down to stretch the hips a little bit more. Relax the shoulders. Breathe deeply. You will take one more inhale. Slowly release your hands all the way back down towards the mat. And then step back, so you're back into this all fours position. As you come into it, we're going to change the position of your hands a little bit. So the moment your hands are facing forward, I don't know if you can see my hands. If you can, you're either going to turn the hands out to the side, or if you can, you're going to turn the hands back so they come back towards your knees a little bit. Now we are going to do cat-cow here, so make sure it feels okay. You might want to walk your knees in if you've got, particularly if you've got your hands turned back towards your knees. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, drop the belly and lift the chest. And on the exhale, round in. So we'll not do too many of them. But the advantage is we get a little stretch in our wrists as we do. So breathing in and breathing out. Just do one more. And when you're ready, come back in towards the center. So turn your hands, so they're going out to the sides again if they're not already. And then turn them forward so they're in that normal position. And then this time we'll flip the hands over. So you can do this one at a time if you want. So just the back of the hand presses down, make sure you're getting your wrist here. If you can do both at the same time, then do them. But if you're like me, got sensitive wrist, do one, and then change and do the other one. Make sure you change sides, keep the arms nice and straight. That stretch to your wrist. Good. And then from there, we'll release the hands, maybe lift them up one at a time, give them a little shake off. And then come back in, just to that all fours position. We are going to do the other leg, so make sure you draw your belly up and in. And then as you inhale, we'll extend the left leg behind us. Again, the toes point down, hips are nice and level. Take an inhale. And then as you breathe out, just bending through your legs. So trying to keep the upper part of your leg nice and still as you bend and straighten from your knee. Just working a little bit through the hamstrings now, the back of the thigh. Keep the arms nice and even, nice and balanced. And then the next time you bend your leg, just keep the leg bent. So from there, again, you can just stay here with the bent leg. Or maybe you can reach back with your right hand, grab hold of your foot. Start to very gently press the foot into the hand and see if you can maybe rotate your chest round towards the right a little. Okay, when you're ready, slowly again, carefully release, extend the leg behind you. And then as you exhale, draw your knee in towards your chest, so rounding in your back as you draw that knee in. And then if you can, step that foot up towards the top of your mat again. So one hand either side, maybe you slide the back leg a little bit further back. The knee over the ankle on the front leg. And then if you like, lift your chest up. So as you lift the chest up, to move the arms back. Arms go back a little bit in space. Start to let everything sink down a little. So through your hips, through your shoulders. Still drawing the belly in. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. When you're ready, releasing the hands all the way to the mat again. And then step back into that all fours position. As you come in this time, we are going to move into our first downward dog. So you might want to walk your hands forwards a little bit. Tuck your toes and lift your hips. Downward dog. If you want a softer down dog, you can always widen your feet all the way out to the edges of your mat. Or maybe just move through it a little bit. So bending into one leg. And then changing sides. Any movement that you make, just make a conscious movement. So you're not just moving for the sake of it, but it actually has a purpose. And then start to spread your hands, push up and out of your shoulders, and draw your belly in. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. If you can, you don't have to do this. You can always do it all fours as well, but if you can, we're going to lift your right leg high. We're going to extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. We're going to bend through your right leg and flexing your foot, we're going to move it over your left hip a little bit so we kind of open the hip up. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, draw your right knee all the way towards your chest like you did before. And then see if this time you can step up towards the top of your mat again. It's a little bit trickier. See if you can. When you get there, you can always lay your back knee on the ground. You just make a choice there. And we're going to lift the chest up again. You start to lift up, reaching up with the arms if you can. So still trying to drop the hips down a little bit. Shoulders over hips. And the hips nice and even towards the front. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. When you're ready, releasing both hands all the way back down towards the ground. When you get there, we'll step back downward facing dog. Again, as you come into down dog, you might make some movements, but see if this time you can find that stillness maybe a little bit quicker. Start to spread your shoulders a little bit. You push your chest towards your thighs a little bit more. You will take one more inhale. Again, if you can, from here, start to lift that left leg high, extend it up towards the ceiling. Bend in your left leg, flex your foot, and start to move it over towards the right hip a little bit. Pushing up and out of your hands equally. You take one more inhale. As you exhale, draw your left knee all the way in towards your chest again, so the belly pulls in. And then step your left foot all the way up towards the top. Again, laying your back knee down if you like, or inhale, lift up to your chest. It's sweeping the arms back if you want to. You can always keep them down. And relax through your shoulders. Focus your gaze. Finding your breath. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. When you're ready, slowly release hands all the way back down towards the ground. Step back once more into downward dog. Take your time. Again, see if you can find that downward dog and just stay there. If you feel a little bit hot, maybe take a big inhale through your nose and then just sigh out your mouth. So we hold a lot of feelings, probably more negative feelings in our hips as well. Sometimes if we concentrate and work on them, then these feelings can come out and you start to feel anger or frustration, but stay aware of that. Okay, when you're ready, on an inhale, we'll lift the heels back up again. And this time we'll just walk up towards the top of your mat, taking your time. And when you get there, separate your feet hip distance apart. Coming into this forward fold, if you want to use a block, you can. Maybe put your hands on your legs if you've not got a block. Or let the arms just dangle down. You're going to rise up, so draw the belly in. And as you inhale, slowly rise all the way up. You're kind of restacking your spine as you come up. Draw your shoulders back. Keep reaching up with your arms. And then slowly bring your arms down by your sides. I'm going to take a little side stretch. So make sure you're in a nice Tadasana position. So you can either have your feet together or you can separate them a little bit. As you inhale, we're just going to reach up with your right arm. And then we're going to lean over towards the left side. So trying to keep our feet pressing towards the mat. When you're ready, slowly rise back up again. We'll go the other way, so again, just taking it up and over. And then when you're ready, slowly release back towards the center. Okay, now we're going to come in for a little bit of balance. So we're going to do a kind of figure four shape, so kind of like a standing pigeon. So you can use a wall if you've got one. You won't have one of those, but anybody else could use a wall. And just work where you can. So if you've got a block or you want to use the floor, then you can do that instead. So we'll separate the feet first. We'll stand onto your right leg, bending into your right leg. If you can, you're going to flex your left foot and just place it onto your thigh somewhere. If you find that hard, you can always move the foot down so it comes more towards your shin, or you can maybe place your foot on the ground as well. So just really where it suits you. We'll bring the hands just towards the center of your chest. And then all we're going to try and do is to bend a little bit into that supporting leg, so into the right leg. As you do that, we're going to try and keep the chest high today. So as if you were kind of sliding down through a wall. So we keep the chest up and the wall in your back would stay connected. Okay. And then just when you're there, try and find your gaze. Try and soften your breath. And try and stay present. We have very little choice with balance postures, but to stay present in our thoughts. But maybe you can think about other things, but try not to. Okay, when you're ready, we'll slowly come back up. So take your time, releasing your legs, bring your feet and your hands back together. Just close your eyes. Just beginning to be aware of the sensations you've created in your body. There might be some sensation in your breath as well. And where your mind goes. So we'll try that on the other side. So you might want to separate your feet a little bit first. Again, spread your toes a little on that left leg and bend into your knee a little. And then if you want to, you could lift your foot up, flex it, place it onto your thigh. If that's okay for you. Again, use the options and come a little bit lower than the ground, wherever you want it to be. And then when you're ready, start to bend into your left leg. Keeping your chest high, keeping your right foot a little bit flexed. Breathing deeply. Okay, we'll slowly start to rise up. Take your time. Again, bring your feet and your hands back together once more. Maybe close your eyes just for a moment. Okay. When you're ready, we'll release the hands, we'll open the eyes. So we're going to come in and do some standing postures now. So if you've got a block, we are going to do a wide leg forward fold. You could use that, or a stone or something, a rock rose for me. You could use. If you've got something, if you've not, don't worry about it. Okay, so we're just going to stand at the top of our mats. Again, in Shavasana if you like, but we are stepping back. So sometimes it's a good idea to have your feet a little bit further apart. But do think about your posture still. So spread your toes, lengthen the legs, draw your belly in, and draw the shoulders down your back. Now we're stepping back to warrior one with your right leg. So just when you're ready. And again, you've got plenty of opportunity to adjust it when you get there. The toes of the back foot turn in, front leg bends, and the toes are facing forwards. If you can get your hips and your shoulders towards the front. So it is kind of a rotation, so we're having to pull round through that right hip a little. And then see if you can lift your arms up. But just see how it all feels when you get there. Start to feel the sense of balance between your feet. So you want the weight on the back foot to be the same as the weight that you're applying on that front foot. Again, find where you can gaze with a soft, focused gaze. And tune into your breath. And try and stay present as much as you can. And from this warrior one, we're going to open up into warrior two. So we'll take our time and just noticing what happens with the hips. So they'll rotate round. And your legs, you may have to adjust them when you get there. But maybe it's just your back foot you turn out a little bit. So it's facing towards that long edge. But start to feel that you're actually expanding and stretching through the hips. So you're squeezing your right glute to pull the right hip back. And you're pushing away through that left knee to pull the left hip open. And then when you feel that you've got a nice stretch in your hips, maybe you could think about the upper body and draw the shoulders back a little bit. So opening your chest, reach through your fingertips, allowing the energy to flow up through your body and then out through your fingertips. Looking with your steady gaze along your front hand. We're going to take one more inhale. We are going to come into triangle here. So we'll slowly start to straighten through your front leg. You might want to hop your back foot in, so it's really up to you. But push your right hip away. Lengthen over that left leg. Releasing the hand down just to where it will go without force. And then maybe start to align and stack your top arm over your bottom arm. If you want to take your top hand behind you, then definitely do that as well. Keep drawing your top shoulder back a little bit without pulling the arm or the hand too far back. So imagining that you're between two sheets of glass and you're trying to flatten yourself. So sometimes if we go down further, we kind of turn and we rotate the body, but we want to try and keep that nice stretch through the bottom side waist. Just breathing deeply. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. When you're ready, we'll come back up. So draw your belly in, rise back up again, take your time. As you come back up, we're going to turn your left toes so towards the long edge of your mat. So we're coming in for a wide-legged forward fold. So turn the left toes in. Make sure your feet are pretty aligned, so your feet are in line with one another. And then as you inhale, maybe reach up with the arms. And on the exhale, we'll start to fold forward. So you might just take your hands to your thighs. You might be able to release down to the ground or to a block. Just see how that feels. And when you get there, see if you can release a little bit. So in our standing postures, the forward folds are the ones which should feel the most kind of relaxing, if you like. You want to allow the upper body to actually release into them. So the arms can go down. And if the hand's reaching on the ground, you can take any modification you want. You can walk your hands back maybe a little bit towards your feet. See if you can draw your belly in and think about where the weight is in your feet. We don't want it to be all the way back into your heels. But try and encourage the weight slightly forwards and bend your knees a lot. You don't have to have straight legs. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. So we're going to rise up again. So we'll draw the belly in, start to roll and rise all the way up towards the top. As you come up towards the top, we're going to turn your left foot up towards the top of your mat again. And then when you turn your foot, just bend into your knee. And then if you can, turn onto the toes of your right foot so you come more into this lunge position. And then from there, we are just going to step up to the top. So you can have your hands on your hips and just step towards the top of your mat. So as you come up, we'll bring the feet back together and the hands together. Take a moment just to notice the sensations you've created. And really just to prepare yourself for the other side. So when you're ready, we'll release the hands, we'll open the eyes, maybe separate your feet a little again. Again, think about the posture, so lengthen the legs, draw your belly in. So we'll step back with your left leg to warrior one when you're ready. Just taking that step back, see how it feels, and see if you can rotate the shoulders and the hips round towards the front a bit more. And then start to lift up through your arms if you want, bending into your front leg. And making any adjustments that you feel that you want to. And do feel it in the hips. So if you feel that you're not kind of feeling anything in the hips here, maybe you can take your stance a little bit further back. And then rotate down. You should also feel quite a strong stretch through that left calf muscle. The left calf muscle gets stretched as we push the leg down towards the ground. Again, working strongly in the hips, so drawing the left hip forward, pulling the right hip back a little bit. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. We'll start to open to warrior two again. So take your time, rotating round, turning your back foot a little bit. Maybe you can even take your feet wider apart. So, you don't have to, and it's not a goal, but sometimes we get quite familiar with where we always come into and we kind of don't really push ourselves. Sometimes it's worth just trying it. If it doesn't work, you can always come out of it. But thinking now about the hips stretching and opening, about that front knee pulling back and the back hip drawing back. And then start to find an openness in your chest. So from here, we are going to come into triangle. So we'll slowly start to straighten your front leg. Maybe bring your back foot in a little bit if you'd like. Push your left hip away. Lengthen over your right leg. Release the hand down and see if you can stack that top arm up and over. Again, without forcing. So you're not forcing your shoulder. You can even take that top hand and bend it behind your back. And keep the head and the neck in line. So don't allow the head just to drop down, but control it and align it through. So the head wants to stay in line with the neck, and the neck stays in line with your spine. So trying to keep the head kind of active as we move in. And breathing deeply. Give everything a little squeeze. So squeezing in through your right glute a little bit so your hips not dropping out to the side. Lengthening through the bottom side waist. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. We'll start to rise up again. So drawing your belly in, lift yourself all the way back up. As you come back up, we'll turn the right toes towards the long edge of your mat. As you inhale, we'll reach up. And on the exhale, we'll start to fold forward. Again, hands on your legs, hands on the block, hands towards the floor. You can release a little bit more. Undoubtedly, your legs are strong and you need to draw your belly in to support your low back. But see if you can relax your head a little bit. See if you can release your shoulders a little bit. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. So we're going to move back up again. Start to draw your belly in. Start to roll and rise all the way back up towards the top. As you come up to the top, we're going to turn the right toes, so up towards the top edge of your mat. Rebending the right leg. This time we're going to take the hands towards the mat. So just taking your hands down and turning onto the toes of your left leg. As you do that, we'll bring the hands to the inside of your right foot. And we're going to lower your left knee down towards the ground. So we're going to come in for a variation of lizard, which is called a long lizard. So we're going to start to move your right foot out towards the right edge of your mat. So it moves quite far out. And then from there, you could just stay here. Yeah, that would be option one. Staying here, letting the hips drop down. If you can manage a little bit more, you're going to walk your hands forwards. So we stretch the arms out in front of us. And again, you could use a block here if you wanted to. If you want a little bit more there, you could tuck your toes under on your left leg and lift your left knee up off the ground. So we come more into that shape. Again, it's really up to you where you feel the stretch and where you want to come into. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. If you've got your back knee lifted, slowly lower it and walk your hands back towards your right leg. Now with your right foot, if you can, you're going to turn it. I might turn the other way actually. You're going to turn, so your right foot is on the outer edge. So the knee kind of goes out to the side a little bit. So at the moment it's flat foot. And we're just going to turn it so it's on the outer edge of your foot. And again, you can stay here. You just get more of a stretch on that hip as you turn the foot out. If you want a little bit more, you could keep your left hand on the ground and then take your right hand and place it either onto that knee or the shin. And then we just gently push that away. And then maybe you turn your chest up towards the ceiling. Again, it doesn't feel right to you, then don't bother doing it. Let's see how it all feels. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. Slowly release, so back towards the center. Take your foot on your right leg and flatten it out. But this time, if you pick your toes up, And then turn the toes out so the foot turns out to the side a little. And from there, we're going to come into Malasana, so our Yogi Squat. So we're going to tuck the toes under on the back leg. You're going to lift the back knee off the ground. And then if you can, you're going to hop your left foot to the outside of your left hand. As you come up, both toes will turn out. You can transfer your hands onto your thighs, or you could transfer your elbows onto your thighs. And if you're happy enough, you can release your hands and drop the hips and come in for your Yogi Squat. Again, it's really up to you. I'm going to stay here terribly long, but just release the hips a little bit. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. When you're ready, slowly release your hands to the ground. See if you can straighten your legs just a tiny bit, enough so that you can turn your toes towards the front, maybe walk them in a little bit. Not too much, about hip distance apart. Now this time, we're going to step back with your right leg. So you're just going to step your right foot all the way back and then lower your right knee down towards the ground. So we're just going to come in and do this on the other side. So if you bring both of your hands to the inside of your left foot, first of all, and then start to walk your left foot out towards the side. So we're coming in for this long lizard, first of all. So again, the option would be just to stay here, maybe bend your elbows a little bit. If you want to, walk your hands forward, so as far forward as you can, so you get that nice long shape through the upper body. See if you can relax your head. And then if you do want a little more, tuck your toes under on the right leg and lift your right knee off the ground. Again, see how it feels. And the idea, the same when we do that other version of our lizard lunge, we're just trying to drop everything down. So we're trying to drop the hips down, shoulders down. Just let everything sink towards the ground. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. So when you're ready, slowly lower your back knee. Start to walk your hands back towards your left foot. And then as you do that, see if you can turn onto the outer edge of your left foot. So the knee drops out to the side, and that might be enough. You might just get a nice stretch through your hip there. If you want a bit more, right hand stays down, and your left hand can move onto your left knee or your thigh if you want. And then we just very gently push the knee away, so we're pushing it open. And at the same time, we rotate the chest round. It kind of goes more towards the ceiling. But again, work with what feels right. Not to crank it. Okay, we'll take one more inhale. Slowly release back towards the center once more. And when you get there, flatten out on your foot on that left side, but pick the toes up and turn the toes out to the side. So from there, again, we're going to come into that Yogi Squat one more time. So we're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to lift the back knee. I'm going to step that right foot to the outside of your right hand. So as you come in, hands onto the thighs, elbows onto the legs, or maybe you can release your hands and sink your hips. Just whatever feels like the best thing for you. Again, we'll not stay here long. So we're going to come down to sitting. So if you want to, you can just use your hands and sit down. If you need to come up first and sit down, please do. If you can, just sit onto your bottom, then just do that. Bring your legs out in front. Give your legs a little shake off if you need to. We're going to do a little twist and a forward fold here. So do a forward fold first, just to release any tension in your hips. So maybe sit forwards onto your sit bones a little bit. You can use a strap here if you've got one as well. Bend your knees if you need to. So as you inhale, we'll start to reach up with your arms. And then on the exhale, we'll just start to fold forward. So maybe you take your hands onto your legs, your ankles. You can take hold of your feet if you want. You can put your big toes. Just do whatever feels best to you. you're ready, slowly release, start to move back up again. And from there, we're going to come into a version of Pigeon. So you can either do Pigeon if you want, or you can come with me and we'll do another little variation on it. So first of all, we'll bend your right leg. So we're just going to bend the right leg in front of you. And again, if you're coming into Pigeon and you know how to come into it, you can just come into it there. Try when you've got this leg to initially to start so that the knee is in line with your ankle. And you can always use the top edge of your mat just to try and align it. We're just going to bend the left leg behind us. And we're going to start to try and move the left hip forward. So a lot of the time, our hips are not even when we're in Pigeon. But here, we want the left hip to move forwards a little bit. So even if you just place your hand just onto the crease of your hip, take an inhale. And then as you breathe out, start to move that left hip just forward a little bit. So release it on the inhale. And as you exhale, start to move it forwards a little bit. So we're not forcing it. We're just very gently trying to kind of encourage it forwards. So we'll do that one more time. So take your time. And then release there. So trying to keep the hips fairly far forward. We're going to try and fold forward. So again, if you find this hard, you can always come into a side version of it where you go along the knee, but we're trying to come down the center. So you might just take your hands to the center. And again, take your time because you might feel that over time it kind of develops a little bit. Sometimes if we rush in and we get a little bit disillusioned because we can't go as far as we want to, but try and come in and then maybe you can come in a little bit more. And if you come into it and you feel that, yeah, that gives me a nice stretch in my right hip, then you're going to stay there. Okay, if you wanted to and you would prefer, come into Pigeon. So just using your hands, lift yourself up, keep your right leg there, and slide your left leg behind you. So again, it's your choice. You can stay exactly where you are. I find that first one gives me more of a stretch in my right hip, but it's really up to you. Where you find it is going to be different for everyone. So either that modified Pigeon or Pigeon. Again, higher or lower, it's really up to you. Just find yourself moving into it. Take your time. If you're high to begin, you can always start to move down onto your forearms or maybe all the way down to the ground. Move with what feels right to you, modifying it as you need to. Starting to use your breath to allow yourself to release into it. Breathing in any remaining tension. And then exhale and release that tension. When you're ready, we'll slowly start to come back up. So use your hands, start to press yourself up once more. And then we'll just bring the legs round towards the front. Hands behind you, and just gently move your legs side to side. Any tension that you feel, just trying to release it a little bit. So we're going to move into the other side now. So again, if you know you're coming into Pigeon, you want to just move into it straight away, please do that. Otherwise, bending into your left leg. So again, aligning the knee and the ankle, bending your right leg behind you. Maybe start to think about moving that right hip forwards. So just your hand on the crease of the thigh. Inhale. And as you exhale, just start to gently encourage it towards the front. Inhale. And then on that exhale, move the hip forwards a little. So just taking your time. Just trying to align your hips. Breathing deep. So if you want to stay here, we're just going to move forwards again. So again, maybe taking your hands just in front of you. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you start to crawl forwards a little bit. and release down into it. Wherever you feel the stretch is where you want to be. So again, if you want to stay there, stay with it. Otherwise, moving into your traditional pigeon, so use your hands and slide back with your right leg this time. So maybe staying quite high and trying to align your hips. Straightening out your back leg. And then moving in when you're ready. Taking your time. Trying to release the feelings of tension in your body. Remember, a tense body is very unlikely to respond well in terms of stretching. We really need to find that place where we can relax and allow the body to soften down into it. When you're ready, we'll make our way back up. So take your time, use your hands, start to sit round again towards the front. And then again, just gently move your legs side to side. Now I promised you a twist, so we're going to do a little twist now. So when you're ready, we'll extend the legs out. Sit up onto your sit bones. Keep the right leg straight. And then bend your left leg in and move it over the top of your right leg. So you could just stay here with your twist and use your right hand to draw you around to the left. If you want a little bit more, bend your right leg in as well. So just bending your right leg towards your left hip. And then start to move around towards the left. Using your right hand or arm, left fingertips behind you. Start to rotate a little. When you're ready, slowly release back towards the center. Releasing your legs once more. Just come in for the other side. So you can bend your right leg, move it over the left. Again, coming in with that straight left leg if you like, or bend your left leg in, and then rotate round towards the right. When you're ready, slowly back towards the center. So releasing your legs. We are going to come and lie down now onto your back. So just take your time. We're going to come in for a little bridge. So if you do want to use a block here, then grab one. So lying down with your feet flat on the floor, your knees bent. Start to press your hips up. So if you want to use a block, just placing the block underneath your hips and settle your hips down. Or keep pressing with the hips, so raise them up a little bit higher. Again, to any degree here. If you want to move your shoulders underneath your back and clasp your hands, you can do that. You will take one more inhale. When you're ready, slowly releasing your hands, if you've got them clasped, lower yourself all the way down. As you come down, we'll draw your knees towards your chest. We're going to take a little twist here as well. So you could spread your arms and just gently drop both knees over towards one side. Either keeping your head towards the ceiling or turn the head towards the opposite arm. As you inhale, come back into the middle. Change the legs so all the way over to the other side, turning the head. When you're ready, back in towards the center. Drawing your knees in, make any final little movements that you would like. We're going to move into Shavasana next. So if you do want to grab a jumper or some socks, then please do that. And then just coming into a comfortable position when you're ready. So you can lie or sit, whatever feels right to you. And we'll begin this little meditation just by taking 5 long breaths. Just inhaling through your nose and either exhaling through your nose or your mouth. It's up to you. As you move in with your breath, just try and use that to relax your body a little bit. Deepening the breath and deepening your connection with your body. As your body starts to release a little bit, just notice the surface that you're lying on, the texture of the clothes against your skin. Maybe you can feel the air against your skin. As you widen your awareness, maybe start to become aware of any noises that you might hear. Let them disturbing your peace. So just noticing them, allowing them to be there. Always coming back to your breath, which is the anchor, which stops us from drifting. And if you have thoughts, simply notice them, observe them, and then just come back to your breath. You could imagine your thoughts, it's like clouds in the sky. So they're there, they're just passing by. Keep coming back to your breath. When you're ready, we're going to take a deep inhale through your nose. And then we'll just sigh it out your mouth. So you can do that again if you'd like. Just deeply inhale. And then just let it go. You'll start to move a little through your fingers and your toes. You like to stretch your arms over your head, just reaching through your hands all the way to your feet. And then as the arms move back over, starting to bend your knees Either feet on the ground or knees to your chest, and just moving a little bit. If you want to roll over onto your side, then you can do that. And then just when you're ready, we'll just start to come up. So take your time. No rush. And just find a comfortable seat. When you're ready, bring the palms together just in front of your heart. Just leaving a little gap just to signify an openness in your heart. So thank you so much for coming along and practicing with me this morning. I hope you enjoyed the hip release practice that we did. Namaste. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I'll just stop that recording. You can unmute yourself.